Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the GSL-English podcast. My name is Gideon, and this is a podcast for all learners of English to practice and improve in a relaxed and natural way. And in this episode, we are going to talk about stress. What is stress? Why do we get stressed? And the most important bit, how can we manage it? Because we all feel stress, don't we? Whether we feel it on a minor scale with perhaps a little inconvenience in life that just makes us a little bit stressed, or sometimes there's something huge going on which causes an immense amount of stress, and it can affect the way we feel, it can affect the way we think, and it can affect really what we do, our actions moving forward. So I thought it would be quite interesting today to just really dive into what stress actually is, and then how can we manage it? How can we practically, get through those bouts of stress, or perhaps even just get through those situations which are stressful without as much of it. So that's the idea for today's topic. And the reason that I kind of came up with this idea is related to the fact that there hasn't been a podcast for a couple of weeks now. So at the outset here, I just want to apologise. I am so sorry that I haven't put an episode out. And it's mainly just because I've had different things going on in life. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say it's been stressful. It's just been really busy. And a few other things have had to take priority. So the podcast kind of went on the back burner for a couple of weeks. So I do apologise for that. But thank you for the support on the last episode that was put out. Really do appreciate that. And I'm really hoping that from now on we should be back to regular podcasts on Sundays at 10 o'clock. So if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I appreciate your support and your loyalty. It doesn't go unnoticed. And if you are new here, this is your first podcast, or you've kind of dabbled in a few, as I said at the beginning, my name is Gideon. I'm an English teacher from London, and I create podcasts like this to help you improve your English in a relaxed way whilst talking about interesting topics. So that's the idea. It's really strange, not doing this podcast for a couple of weeks. I feel out of practice. I feel a little bit out of rhythm. It's funny how quickly you lose something. So I do apologise if this is a bit of a weird podcast, or you're thinking, Gideon, that's just not the same standard it usually is. It's because, just basically out of practice. It's like when you go on holiday for 2 weeks or something, and you go away from work, that first day back at work, you've just got no idea what you're doing. You just feel like it's a completely new job. That's how I feel right now. This is actually the fourth time I've started the recording of this, but I don't have time to do that again. So we're just going to roll with it. Okay. So the topic, or the title of the topic that we're going to kind of talk about, that I've given it, is managing stress, understanding it, and learning how to cope. Because at first I was thinking, well, you can't really eliminate stress because it's a natural function. And as we're going to go on to talk about, there's certain situations where that feeling of stress is a good thing. But it's really, how to cope with it, how to manage it. That's the real kind of key idea around this episode. So what we're going to do as normal, we're going to go through an article together. I'll read a section. That gives you a chance to follow along or shadow read with me if you'd like to. And then we'll break down the main thoughts, vocabulary, and expressions. So here we go. Managing stress, understanding it, and learning how to cope. Stress is something we all experience, whether it's a deadline at work, financial worries, family responsibilities, or simply trying to balance the demands of everyday life. Stress is a normal part of being human. Yet, while everyone experiences stress, not everyone experiences it in the same way. A situation that feels manageable to one person might feel overwhelming to another. So why is that? And more importantly, What can we do to manage stress in a healthy way? So that's really setting the tone of what we're going to talk about. So let's just break it down, this introduction down a little bit. Very true statement. It's something that we all experience. This is something that no matter who we are, no matter what our culture, no matter where we live, as humans, we all have experienced, do experience, and will continue to experience stress. It's a great statement there. Kind of ties everybody into the article. Whether it's a deadline at work, a deadline is a date that you have to complete something by. Financial worries create stress, doesn't it? Family responsibilities, or simply just trying to balance the demands of everyday life. It's kind of that hidden stress almost, isn't it? The demands of everyday life. But it's a normal part of being human. Yeah, that's just part of being an adult, as much as we might not want to. It's funny, my wife and I were talking about this the other day, and we were saying, wouldn't it nice just to not be an adult for one day? Just go back to just being a kid, just chilling out, coming home from school, playing some video games or drawing or going playing in the garden. Just no stress. I'd like that life again, but like now, and get paid for it. That would be lovely. But that's not a reality of life. The reality is that we're going to feel stress. And that's what it says. All of us experience stress in different ways. It's subjective, meaning that what might stress you out does not stress me out. A situation that feels manageable, and something is manageable, you can manage it. You can get through it. The situation can be managed in a way that you'll pass through it. But for others, that situation is overwhelming. It's too much. What stresses us out is individual, isn't it? But that being aside, it doesn't really matter what it is that stresses us out. We want to look at how can we manage it in a healthy way. So let's first just talk about what is stress. And I included this in here just so we're all on the same page and we're kind of working along with the same definition of stress. So I'm just going to read this in its entirety. Stress is the body's natural response to pressure, challenges, or perceived threats. It is a survival mechanism that has helped humans stay alive for thousands of years. When we encounter a stressful situation, our brains signal the release of hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones prepare the body to respond quickly. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and our senses become more alert. This response is often known as the fight, flight, or freeze response. In dangerous situations, this response can be extremely helpful. Imagine stepping into the roads and suddenly hearing a car horn. Your body reacts instantly before you've even had time to think. Stress, in this case, helps keep you safe. However, modern life presents us with a different kind of challenge. Instead of occasional physical dangers, many people experience ongoing pressures from work, finances, relationships, or health concerns. As a result, our stress response can remain activated for long periods, which can have negative effects on our well-being. So let's just get straight into this. Stress is a natural thing. It's a natural response, as it says, to pressures, challenges, or perceived threats. What we or the body perceives or sees as a threat. It's a survival mechanism. So when we encounter stressful situations, what our brain does, you get that release of hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. And that's kind of that feeling that you get deep in your body, often not a very nice feeling. Your muscles tense, your senses become more alert, and perhaps your heart starts racing a little bit. And we feel like there's a situation that happens, we feel stress, and that is what really the response is often broken down to three things, which is we fight, we flight, or we freeze. So because of that feeling, we fight a situation, we tackle it head on. We flight, which means we fly away, we get away as quickly as we can, or we freeze, meaning that we do nothing. Now, stress in particularly dangerous situations, that are literally actually dangerous, stress is a good thing. For example, if you step into a road, you hear a car horn, your body reacts before you've even thought, and you try your best to get away from that car. Situations like that, stress is good. But it talks about, modern life, so the life that we're living today, it presents us with a different kind of challenge that promotes stress. Okay, we have the occasional physical dangers in life, but it's work, it's finance, relationships, health concerns, anxiety, whatever it is. And because of that, because of these things, if we take a physical danger like walking into the road, it's over. Once we have responded to that, hopefully we're safe and sound, the situation is over. It's done with. We don't have to deal with that anymore. And now levels can come back down, sometimes slowly, to a normal balance. But it's interesting what it says here that when we're facing stress from situations, let's say work, well, those levels don't really go back down to balance. We take it home with us. We worry about it. We wake up at night. So that stress response is remaining activated. It's on for a long period. And that's where stress is a problem. When our brain is constantly in that fight, flight, or freeze mode because of just daily life. So why does it affect people differently? Now, this bit I thought was really interesting. One of the most interesting things about stress is that people respond to it in different ways. Take public speaking as an example. Some people enjoy standing in front of an audience and sharing their ideas. Others find the experience terrifying. The situation is the same, but the response is completely different. There are several reasons for this. Here's the first one. Past experiences. Our previous experiences shape how we respond to challenges. Someone who has successfully handled a difficult situation before may feel more confidence when facing it again. Someone who has had a negative experience may feel more anxious. So that's the first indicator of why we might feel stress in certain situations. It's because of past things that we've been through. If we've faced a challenge, like let's take that one of public speaking. If we've done it before, it's a regular part of our routine. It's still a challenge, but you can face it with confidence. But if it's your first time public speaking, the stress can take over. Your past experiences, the challenges that you have been through in the past, that you have overcome, often dictate how much stress you're going to feel. Personality. Some people naturally enjoy challenge and uncertainty. Others prefer routine and predictability. Neither approach is right or wrong, but they can influence how stressful a situation feels. We're all different, aren't we? We all have different personalities. So some people enjoy a challenge. They enjoy uncertainty, not quite knowing what's going to happen. With others, they prefer routine. Everything all the ducks in a row, so to speak. And they prefer predictability. If life is predictable, there's not as much stress because you know what's going to happen. Neither is right or neither is wrong, but our personality types, who we are, influence how stressful a situation feels, but also what situation it is that feels stressful. Support systems. People who have supportive friends, family members, or colleagues often cope with stress more effectively. Simply knowing that help is available can make a difficult situation feel more manageable. This is true, isn't it? It's all individual, isn't it? This is a personal thing. If you have got friends, family members, or perhaps you work with ones that you can just talk to, they're going to understand. It helps you just to manage the situation a little bit better. But when you take that away, when you're in a work environment where let's say it's really competitive, you don't feel like you can talk to someone, you're worried about raising your concerns, that can create more stress, can't it? Physical health, I thought this was an interesting connection. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, illness, and inactivity can all make us more vulnerable to stress. When our bodies are not functioning well, our ability to cope with pressure is often reduced. So if we're our nutrition's not good, we're lacking sleep, perhaps we've been ill, all of these things make us more vulnerable. A vulnerable person is more susceptible to the effects of something. They can make us more vulnerable to the effects of stress. So when our bodies are not functioning, let's say because we're on a severe lack of sleep, well, our ability to cope is often reduced. And finally, mindset and perspective. Perhaps most importantly, stress is influenced by how we interpret events. Two people can face the same challenge, but think about it in very different ways. One may see it as an opportunity to learn and grow, while the other may view it as a threat or a potential failure. So here, this is really interesting. It's our interpretation of life. It's how we perceive it. It's how we look at a situation. For example, you and I might look at a challenge, but the way that we interpret it, the way that we translate it into our minds, it is very different. I might find that situation unbelievably stressful, but you think, no, we can handle this. It's okay. Your body or your mind doesn't interpret it as a danger, so to speak. So our mindset, our perspective in life, the way that we view things, you can see that all of these are tied in, and this is why we're all affected by stress differently. So when does stress become a problem? Not all stress is harmful. In fact, a certain amount of stress can improve focus, motivation, and performance. Athletes, performers, and students often benefit from a moderate level of pressure. The problem arises when stress becomes constant. Long-term stress can affect both physical and mental health. It can lead to sleep problems, difficulty concentrating, irritability, anxiety, fatigue, and even burnout. It may also weaken the immune system and increase the risk of other health problems. For this reason, learning how to manage stress is an important life skill. So here we go. It starts off by saying not all stress is a problem. In fact, a certain amount of stress or stress within balance, I like this. It improves focus, motivation, sometimes just to get through it, or performance. We think of athletes, performers, footballers, musical artists. There's an element of stress there. They're going to go out and perform. But that stress, if kept within balance, helps them to perform to the best of their ability. But the problem is when there's no come down from that stress, when those levels are always up. And do you feel like that sometimes, that your stress levels are just always up? No matter what you do, your stress is just high. Well, this is called long-term stress, meaning that it's lasting for a sustained period of time. It can lead to sleep problems, difficulty concentrating. You're always thinking about the thing that's stressing you out. Irritability. People annoy you quickly. You're frustrated quickly. Anxiety. Fatigue. Mental and physical, I guess, meaning that you're just tired. And even burnout. When we burn out, we're just done. We have no more mental capacity to give. So you can see here, we've seen what stress is, why it affects us differently, but if we can, we need to learn to manage stress. So here are some suggestions that I've put together just through different resources. And once again, I am no expert, and sometimes you need professional help. But I just thought some of these points were really good. If you are feeling stressed, or even particularly, of course, this is a podcast based around learning a second language, there's certain situations that come along with that choice that create stress. It's an exam, an interview, a work opportunity, travel. There's so many situations that come from learning a second language which can create stress. So here are just some ideas on how we can manage that. We can't eliminate stress completely. To eliminate something is to completely remove it. We can't do that with stress, but we can reduce its impact. I thought that's such a lovely point. We cannot eliminate stress. So the first thing we've got to do is just realize that stress is always going to be there, but we can control its impact on us. So the first suggestion here is to identify the source. When we talk about the source, we're talking about where it comes from. What is the source? What is the core that our stress is radiating from? The first step is understanding what is causing the stress. Sometimes we feel overwhelmed without clearly identifying the reason. I've had that so many times where I'll just turn to a friend or to my wife and say, I just feel a bit anxious, just feel a bit stressed, but I don't know why. And then that creates that long-term feeling of stress or worry. So we can ask ourselves, what exactly am I worried about? Try and find the key point. Is this something I can control? What practical action can I take? And I thought that second question to me is the one that I'm going to take from this. Even if you can't identify the source, is it something you can control right now? I think sometimes the things that I particularly worry about or I stress about, I've got no control over. There's nothing I can do about it. So when we identify that, actually, I'm worried about something that I can't control, what can we do? Simply defining the problem can make it feel less overwhelming. That second one, what practical action can I take? What can I physically do to try and relieve the stress of this situation? So firstly, it's just identify the source if we can. What is it that's causing the stress? If it's work, isolate. What is it at work? Is it a particular project? Is it a particular colleague? If it's family related, where's it coming from? If it's financially related, is it a specific bill? Is it a specific worry? Identifying the source. And then we focus on what we can control. Many people, this is me, by the way, hands down, this is me. Many people spend a great deal of energy worrying about things they cannot change. We cannot control the weather, other people's opinions, or unexpected events. However, we can control our preparation, our attitude, and our response. Focusing on what is within our control often reduces feelings of helplessness. It is a fact that there's certain things we just cannot control. But as humans, we spend a great deal, an inordinate amount of energy worrying about the things that we just can't change. For example, if it's the weather, no, we're getting married and we're worried that it's going to rain. We can't change that. Sometimes people have got opinions of us. We can't change them. Sometimes we might need to, but we can't change them there and then. And there's just unexpected things that happen in life that we can't change. But there are things that we can control. Our preparation for events, our attitude, our mindset towards it. I thought that's also our response. That's what we can control. So another way to manage stress is to focus on what you can control. And that's often our emotions. Take care of your body. Physical health and mental health are closely connected. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, a balanced diet, and staying hydrated can significantly improve our ability to cope with stress. Even a short daily walk can have a positive effect on mood and well-being. Well, this is an interesting one. I know for me, if I am feeling stressed, if I just get to the gym or I just do a bit of exercise, of course, the problems, what I'm worried about, is still there. But I can mentally tackle it a bit better. Adequate sleep. Not more sleep than we need, but enough. Are we getting enough sleep? Simple one we can all do. Stay hydrated, meaning that we just simply drink enough water. It's not, again, these aren't things that are going to remove the stress, but they improve our ability to cope. Next point is to talk to someone. Stress often feels heavier when we carry it alone. Talking with a trusted friend, a family member, or colleague can provide emotional support and sometimes a new perspective. Often, simply expressing our concerns out loud helps us feel better. If we can talk to someone, sometimes when we vocalize a problem, when we vocalize the worry that we're going through, it helps us put it into perspective, doesn't it? Or it helps us to give us a new perspective. So sometimes we just need to hear from a friend, everything's okay. You're doing all right. try not to worry about it too much, or they can give us reasons or perhaps experiences that they've been through that just helps us to put it in its right place. Practice relaxation techniques, deep breathing, mindfulness, and other relaxation techniques can help calm the body's stress response. These practices encourage us to slow down, focus on the present moment, and create a sense of balance. If we're feeling stress, to just breathe and be mindful of the situation that we're in, and that, perhaps it isn't as bigger of a problem as we're making it out to be. Take regular breaks. Many people believe that working harder is the solution to stress. In reality, constantly pushing ourselves can make stress worse. Regular breaks improve concentration, productivity, and overall well-being. When we're feeling stressed, sometimes, I know this is the way I approach it, I think, well, I've got to work harder, I've got to push through it. Just take a little break. Take a step back. Try and get a bird's eye view of the stress. Just take a break, have a coffee, forget about it, and then come back to it. And when we do that, it's interesting. It says that it can improve concentration, productivity, meaning that we can be more productive, get more done, and overall well-being. And I like this last point. Simply be kind to yourself. One of the most overlooked aspects of stress management is self-compassion. Many people speak to themselves more harshly than they would ever speak to a friend. We all make mistakes, face setbacks, and have difficult days. Treating ourselves with patience and understanding can reduce unnecessary stress and help us recover more quickly from challenges. Self-compassion. If we feel compassion for someone else, our heart goes out to them. It's like we feel their pain. Practice self-compassion. Being kinder to yourself. We think about ourselves so harshly. If we think harshly about ourselves, but very self-critical, analysing all of the things that we should have done, we would never do that with someone else. We all make mistakes. We all face setbacks, and we all have difficult days. We all get stressed. Perhaps we just need to be a bit more patient with ourselves, a bit more understanding, and that could just help balance out that stress level. So stress, it's a natural part of life. It is not a sign of weakness, nor is it something that only affects certain people. Everyone experiences stress at different times and for different reasons. What matters is how we respond to it. By understanding what stress is, recognizing why people experience it differently, and developing healthy coping strategies, we can prevent stress from taking control of our lives. The goal is not to eliminate stress completely. The goal is to manage it effectively, build resilience, that we can work through it, and maintain our well-being even during challenging times. Remember, small changes can make a big difference. A conversation with a friend, a short walk, a good night's sleep, or a few moments of deep breathing may seem simple, but over time, these small actions can have a powerful impact on how we feel. Stress is a part of life, but it does not have to define it. We're all going to experience stress, but it doesn't have to define our day, our week, or how we're feeling. So I don't know if that helped me. I think it did, because we all feel stress. And I think at different times in life, we get kind of wrapped up in stress. Sometimes we just got to take that step back, a deep breath, and just reevaluate the situation. So there you go. That was the topic for today. Some great vocabulary in there. And I do encourage you, to watch it again or listen again and just read along with me. Just to practice the fluency and natural pronunciation. But what do you think? Do you think some of these points help? How do you cope? How do you manage your stress? So if you did get to this point of the podcast, I encourage you to write stress in the comments. And share your thoughts, share your opinions. So thank you so much for watching. I do apologize once again that there's not been an episode for a couple of weeks. I'm sure there will be one next week. I'm pretty sure I've got an interesting topic that I want to talk about, so I hope I get time to record that. So thank you again, guys, and have a great week. Have a good one, guys.